Hi, everyone. I'm Ken Rakowski, and this is Nathaniel Getzels, and you're watching First Mover. This is episode 12. By the way, I'm Ken, and I'm moving, so this is how appropriate.
Yep.
This is my last week in Los Angeles as I make the big hike over to Las Vegas and then to Dubai. And our host of our show is Nathaniel Getzels. Get sold. And Nathaniel is he's got a ton of cool stuff that he's going to dive into. Nathaniel, what's going on?
Absolutely. Okay. So we usually do a pretty in-depth update of the market, but I think you all know pretty much where the market is. If you have questions,
where's the market?
Put it in the chat. We're gonna skip to a few other things first.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Okay.
So first, a few weeks ago we had Shaheen on, who was talking about buying properties on eBay. And what many of you might not know is I've bought property on eBay, in fact, and it's 10 acres out basically in the desert, nowhere. Aaron has been there actually with me. And this week,
Beautiful.
I'm doing two things with it. One is we're gonna do some regenerative farming, but also I found this site that is basically the Airbnb of campsites. So I have listed the site with like 30 different spots of campsites. So I'll give you an update next week on that.
Why would anybody want to list something on eBay?
It's just another way to sell it. It's just another auction
So it's
platform.
not just on eBay. It's probably being sold in a whole bunch of other environments, right?
No, these are exclusively listed on eBay. In fact, Shaheen started his real estate empire on eBay.
So if somebody here wanted to list something on eBay, is there a certain process they have to go through? How would you do a virtual sale of a property?
You just go on eBay. It will ask for your APN, the location, a description, and you set the price and you put either a reserve or not a reserve. Another great site as well as eBay is Bid for Assets. That's a great one. They have $1 no reserve auctions, and I've actually bought properties for $1 on there. So yeah,
real properties.
Real properties.
And
yeah.
what do you do with $1 property when you're done?
Well, this one, now that I know about this campsite thing, I'm going to put it on the campsite. And actually, because of where I bought it, I like to buy things on the outskirts of where a city already is. And so this one, I've already gotten offers for $30,000 and $40,000 from developers who are developing in the area.
The ones that you bid $1 for?
The ones that I bought for $1.
Damn, how do we learn more about that?
Well, we can talk more about that.
Let's talk right now.
Okay.
How do you do that?
Well,
right now, right, Edwin? Right now.
Well, the key is when you see properties for auction.
What's the website?
Bidforassets.com is one of them. That's the best. That's one of my favorites, actually.
Is it number 4 or the word 4?
The number 4. Bid, B-I-D. Bidforassets.com.
Okay, let's go check this out. I'm going to go to the site with you guys right now. I'm going to share what I see with big boy Nathaniel. Do you guys see that? You guys see my screen?
We see it. We see it.
All right.
Terrific. So let's click California, for example.
Going to California. Whoa, what was that? California. So we can see some properties here. So what are we looking at here? Well, that's a Half Moon Bay.
Yeah, so 5,000 square feet residential lot.
So this one actually has a price.
Okay.
This one has a price. Is that?
That's a current bid.
For $232.
Yep. And that, but look, it's only 0.10 acres in Riverside, which is probably in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but there's oil there, maybe. Who knows?
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, you don't know.
The key thing that I look at on these auctions is there road to the property, right? Are there any utilities? Which I don't necessarily only buy with utilities, but it changes what I offer, right? So is there road is a big thing because access, a lot of these properties are very cheap because there's no access to them.
Nothing in Hawaii, by the way.
Nothing in Hawaii.
Probably tons here. Let's see. Texas got tons.
Oh yeah. I was looking at something that had like 1,000 acres in Texas recently.
Yeah, that's awesome. No road.
No road, but 1,000 acres, you just go do it.
So let's go to a place where it's really probably super congested. Let's go to like a Maryland's pretty good property. You get some good stuff out. There's 2 auctions going on in Maryland.
Terrific.
Hey,
So here-
can I say one thing?
Yeah.
One of the first things you definitely want to do is check the deed and with the city or the assessor to see how the lots are broken up. I recently tried to buy one, and the lots they were separated illegally. So I almost bought a property that I wouldn't have owned in the right way. So I called Nathaniel, he talked me through it, but that's probably the first thing you want to do when looking at these properties is just see.
And you got to admit, Edwin, a property, that $12 property you bought, that would have sucked if you had to somehow separate that $12 with somebody else.
Yeah, definitely.
How
It
much
was
were
a
you gonna
small
pay?
lot. It was like $3,000, but it was in a land actually out here in Santa Clarita. It was in an area where I felt like they would develop in the future. So that's why it was attractive to me, but she just didn't divide up the lots properly. So that's the first thing you got to check with the city.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so we just learned today, bid for assets. That's our first one we got to add to this. Good find.
Thank you.
I like
Yeah,
that.
That's a good one. And the key is you also want to check something else about the title is if it has clear title or not. There's a lot of properties that you can buy in assets. That you can buy, on auctions, built houses even. But if there's a big debt against them, you might be assuming that debt. So you want to be super careful about that. That makes sense? And the way you would do that is after you identify the property. Hey, look, there's Sandy. After you identify the property, you would go on and check with title. And you guys can feel free to call me. I can help with that. But you can check with title to make sure there isn't liens or other debts against the property. So, Edwin, did you end up buying any on there?
No, I didn't. No, I walked out of it. And you know what? I reached out to eBay because if you walk out of those deals, they'll flag your account. But I had them check my messages between the seller and myself, and they saw that it wasn't done properly, and so I got out of that deal.
Yeah, on eBay you have to be more careful. Bid for assets, everything's vetted. On eBay, you have to be more responsible as far as for yourself to really do your due diligence, which I can definitely help you with. Or if you have somebody in title, they can definitely help you as well. So for anyone who wants to start an Airbnb hotel situation with Airstreams, there's actually several. There's several in Malibu here, and they're popping up all over. The key is if you have the hookups to the property. So if you want to start one of those, what you want to look at is enough space, the right zoning, and utilities to the property, or a way to have your waste. Otherwise, you have to chuck it out, or you have those compostable toilets, which can be funky. Though I know some people who live with those, and they're very happy. So,
Nathaniel, what's your typical turnaround time look like when we're looking at these auction properties? Because I've had anything from 60 days to 180. Are you finding the same experience, or is it something that you're getting done faster?
Well, if you look at the traditional real estate auctions, those have quite a long thing, and because you can buy properties through auction on a MLS as well. But these,
the bid
like
for asset, before,
eBay,
yeah.
What's that?
I've seen the bid for asset before, so that's why I'm curious.
Well, with those, I just like to look at what's coming up, because then I get a better idea of what's available, right?
Absolutely.
And you kind of get an idea of, are people bidding on this? Are they not? Now on the $1 ones, I just basically bid across the board on those.
Mm-hmm.
And I figure, if I win, great. And even if I don't perform, I pay the dollar and just don't take the property if there's something wrong with it. So yeah.
I love it. I'm in. Let's go buy up all the property on there.
Right. Absolutely. I have property, a lot of them I've never been to, like the one in Nevada I bought for $1. I've already been offered 20 times what it's worth.
How quickly? What's the turnaround?
Not 20 times, 20,000 times what it's worth.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's the turnaround time?
20, 30 grand. What's
like
that?
on that? What's the turnaround time like on that? So say I bought a property for $1 today. How quickly are you seeing that you're getting people interested in buying that asset for a significant amount more?
Well, it all depends.
Yeah, that's an
With
open.
COVID, a lot of the properties that were somewhat rural are now in much higher demand without, you know, I was planning, I had a much longer time horizon, but that's why I'm looking at the Airbnb for camping. I'm doing some regenerative farming on there. I have an option. I'm actually putting it on Craigslist because there's a lot of demand for people to live in a trailer and just rent some space. And since it's 10 acres, I can just split it up and do a lot of fun things and create a nice short-term income stream until that bigger payoff comes back.
I love it.
So
Very inventive.
it's a pretty good setup. I mean, Shaheen down there, you know, he's the master of auctions, of auction properties. I don't know what he's in. It looks like he's in some sort of a
Glass case.
tunnel maybe or something, like a tunnel with a lot of graffiti. I'm not sure. But so a few weeks ago, for those of you who are on here, we talked a little about Batumi. And because we're being joined by Nino, where in Batumi, just so all of you know, it's 4:11 a.m. So I want to jump to her so she can go get some sleep. But she's going to tell us about Batumi, what it is, why it's a good investment, and about a specific investment that she is connected with there. Nino, can you hear us?
Yes, of course. Hello to everyone. This is my first conversation by Zoom, and it's my first time I have a conversation about real estate by internet or application. I will try to give you some, first of all, I will try to give you information about the city. So Batumi is one of the most beautiful cities in Georgia and one of outstanding tourist attractions, tourist destinations throughout Black Sea region, with old and new architectural buildings, ancient ports, botanical gardens, with first-class hotels and caves. Batumi is the best place and the best face of modern Georgia. The main part of economic is tourism. The number of tourists in the city is increasing every year. And Batumi is a city that is attractive for real estate investment, not only for Georgians, but also for citizens of other countries. And for example, according to TBC Capital Research, the share of foreigners among the buyers in 2015 was 14%, and in 2019 the number was raised to 36%.
Yeah, I think on the Forbes list, it was one of the top places to invest in Europe, top 10.
Yes, also Forbes has information about that. And according to national statistics of Georgia, in the last 3 years, the number of real estate transactions in Batumi has increased is increased by 63%. And general profit from real estate rentals in Georgia is annually from 10 to 15% of total investment.
And what's the range of investments there?
It is very different. So prices for here is calculated by square meters, and generally prices for example in our company per square meter it is from $510 to $650 per square meter, and total areas of apartments is about from 30 square meter and 100 or more.
So as a purchase price, just let's say in US dollars, it could range from roughly, correct me if I'm wrong, but around 16,000 to a couple 100,000, depending on the size of the unit. Is that right?
The minimum price of apartment is 16,000, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I saw that the average return on that with a 1/3 occupancy, which is about normal, is about 3,500 a year. Is that right?
Generally in summer period, occupies is about 100%, and other periods maybe 30-40%.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say, let's say there was a unit that was about 20,000, what on average do you think you're going to turn around on that? 10% over the year?
This is
More than that.
minimum income. So from 10 to 15% of investment.
So with a $20,000 investment, I get a property and up to around 15% return.
So if you calculate with 10%, this is 2,000 per year.
Got it. Okay. So what are some of the things that are coming to Georgia? I think I saw there was some casinos and a lot of entertainment. It was coined to me. I kind of look at it as a mix of Las Vegas and Miami because it's all the new high rises. All the stuff you're talking about is brand new built for the most part, from what I understand. And then there's casinos coming in, and it's on a gorgeous village on the city. On the sea. Is that right?
Part of Batumi, we have casinos and high buildings, and our construction is also in new part of Batumi. And according to statistics, the main rentals and main sales are in new part of Batumi.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Aaron, are you still on here? Aaron Scotty? Oh, did we lose you? I know he had some questions. Okay, who has questions about Batumi? Or Nino, do you have more to tell us about it?
About Batumi or our construction?
Whatever you've got. Hey, look, there's Frankie.
Okay, I'll give you some information about company. Company is founded by US investment, and our projects are fully financed with the US investment. We have 2 finished projects in Batumi and 1 project under construction. This project we have begun 1 year ago in summer 2019, and the project will be finished in summer, in August next year, 2021. And have also very flexible system of payment. We have interest-free installment for 20 months without down payment.
And with no down payment? I'm sorry. Did you say no down payment and no interest for 20 months?
Yes. The project, you will get apartment in 9 months, and you have installment for 20 months without down payment.
That sounds pretty amazing. Athena, I think you had a question.
Go ahead. Well, first of all, I'll take 2. That sounds amazing. I'm curious what the process looks like for a person with a non-EU passport. What's the process look like? Is it easy to purchase still with US citizenship? Or I know I've run into difficulties in other countries purchasing. So have you had experience with that? And they have regulations.
Not any difference. The property will buy Georgian citizen or citizen of other countries. The registration takes only 1 day. And if you buy with installment, when you finish your payment, the apartment will be registered, and by that time you go to notary, send authorization to us to register your property, and it takes only 1 day to be registered.
Wow.
Nino, sorry, go ahead.
Without installment, and if you make total payment, we have 10% discount of total amount. In this case, the apartment is registered the same day.
Registered the same day, wow. So from what I understand, there's a lot of encouragement from the government side for US dollars. So there's a lot of safety mechanisms in place. So it's not, you hear these horror stories of some of these countries that are not so US investment friendly. But is that pretty accurate, Nino? Georgia's pretty friendly with US?
Also, we can offer you if you will buy without total with total payment, it is also possible to pay in our partner's account. So we are financed by US investment, and we have partner company and account in USA, and you may pay there if it is easier for you. And if you buy with installment, you may transfer it in Georgia, and you may do it from every bank.
Terrific. Edwin, did you have a question?
Yeah, I guess I have a question. So I don't know if it was answered or not. For non-citizens, what are some of the hurdles that you have to go through? Is one.
Could you repeat, please? I could not understand question.
He was asked, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, for non-citizens, what are some of the hurdles that we're going to have to go through? Was that answered? Was that covered?
No, nothing different. No, there is no any difference. If the property is buying U.S. citizen, there is no any difference.
Okay, and then what are some of the cons, like of the area or the whole process? Like, this is all great, but what's the downside?
Which side?
Like, what would a bad thing about buying in Batumi be? Like a bad thing?
Bad thing? So
Yeah.
I don't.
You don't see any?
No.
Is there
crime or?
Yeah, is there a lot of crime?
Crime. So not only Batumi, Georgia is very safe, and crime, we have not high rate of crime in Georgia, not only in Batumi, but in whole Georgia.
Yeah, from what I've been told, and by the people, I know several people that have actually bought in your building and in Batumi, and they said it's a beautiful, very safe, everything's new. There's a lot of infrastructure. The government's spending a lot of infrastructure there to make it really nice. And it's one of the top tourist areas for that part of Europe. Is that right?
Yes, and you can even walk alone at 4 o'clock at night. It's very safe.
Speaking of which, it is 4:30 in the morning there. So thank you again for joining us. If people want to get a hold of you, how should they do it? Should I just give them your contact info, or is there another way that you prefer?
Or a website where we can look up, more information and property.
Sunrise G, and you also we have also live camera there, and you can watch construction process. Not now because now it's night, but it's daytime. You can watch construction process with live camera, and website is sunrise.g.
Terrific, and I'll put that on the site as well, guys. Just so you know. Sorry, did I cut you off?
Could you repeat?
Oh no, I wasn't sure if I had inadvertently cut you off. Big Paul, you have a question? Big Paul, are you still there? There you are.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if we were to invest in any of the spaces there, is there a minimum time? Like, for example, if I invest, I have to hold the property for 5 years before I'm allowed to sell it, or if I wanted to buy it and flip it, if after 2 months.
So, for example, if you bought property and you sell it in the same price, you will not pay any taxes. But if you bought property and after 2 years you are selling it, there is no matter in what price you sell, you will not pay any taxes. But if you sell during 2 years, you have to pay 20% of difference. For example,
Gotcha.
you bought in 20,000 and you are selling in 30,000. So difference is $10,000 and you will pay 10%, 20% of it.
Thank you. That was very insightful. And thank you.
One other quick question that I had, is there any holdback? So if a foreigner comes to the US and sells a property, they hold some of the money for a certain amount of time. Does that happen in Georgia? So if Big Paul was to sell the unit that he's definitely going to buy, does he get all the money right away, or is there a certain amount of time the government holds a portion for foreign nationals?
No, government holds here nothing.
Great. Okay, perfect. Do we have any other questions? I know it's 4:30 in the morning. Thank you so much.
There is, we don't have also property tax. So if you don't have salary or some kind of income that exceeds annually 100,000 Georgian lari, you will not pay property tax.
That's excellent. I love no property tax. Ron, you had a question?
Yeah, there. Thank you for this, by the way. It's fascinating. Yeah, so once we own a unit, if we want to rent it, is that managed by your company or a management company that is set up?
Yes, we have management, and there will be two types of service. So one service, if we take apartment and we rent it. In this case, we take 20% of total income from apartment, and there will be also another offer, which will be about 15 or maximum $20 per check-in. And this is if you rent it by yourself. For example, if you have your own account on Airbnb or on Booking.com and only inform us check-in and check-out time. So this is only preparation and check-in and check-out fee.
Thank you, Nino.
Great, thank you so much. Shaheen, you have a question? Shaheen?
Yeah, I was just wondering about the weather there.
Can't hear you,
What are the
Shaheen.
seasons?
Sound like you're in a tunnel.
Can't hear you, buddy.
Oh, geez. Okay, shit. I was wondering about the weather there. As far as the seasons go, what is the what is the weather like there? And is it like freezing cold like half the year or no?
No, but in Batumi we have, for example, today we had 21 degree. So it's very good weather.
Hey guys, I just want to show
It
you
looks
something.
so beautiful in the pictures.
So one of the reports in the Metal portal in Metal Connect, I'm not sure if you saw this. I put a whole thing together right here. It was entitled "Countries Making It Easier for Americans to Move to." So I went through all these, and one of the countries, as we scroll down, is Georgia. And what it doesn't cost anything actually to apply to go to Georgia. There are so many opportunities right now. And this seems to be this new explosive area. Batumi is just one of many, but it's something you might want to look a little deeper into, because they are looking at that opportunity of a lot of Americans trying to leave and move out. And I think they're doing it the right way, being Georgia. They're looking at this opportunity.
Absolutely. Edwin, I think you had a question.
Yeah, is there local beach access there?
We don't have local beaches in Georgia. Every beach is public.
So every beach is public, but I believe most of the city is within a couple of blocks of the water, right?
The nearest beach is 10 minutes to walk. So from our building, in 10 minutes, you are on the beach.
That's interesting. Jennifer just asked a question regarding clean water issues. Do you drink the water from the tap, or do you only drink bottled water?
I don't know. For example, I only drink from bottle, but people generally drink ordinary water here, and it's safe, but I'm used to drink from bottle.
But those people that drink from the tap generally die at 37 years old. Just saying, no. All
Just
right.
give me a hard time.
No, but right now, and I know I came in a little late. Where is Georgia marketing? What audience? Are they marketing towards Europe? Are they marketing to Asia, to US? Where's a lot of your marketing going to educate people on the real estate opportunities?
For example, with our experience, I can tell you that mainly from the region of Caucasus, from Ukraine. We have also many clients from United States, but generally I can say that in whole Georgia there are many clients because I think we have clients because from our partner, which is that is our investor, and from that relations I have many clients from we have many clients from United States.
United States. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Good.
And also we have in Georgia many clients from Israel.
Terrific. Nino, thank you again. I know it's 4:30 in the morning there, so we want to let you get some sleep. You guys, I know many of you have asked if I could put something on the site with information about this, and we will definitely do that later. Not a problem. And if you want to contact Nino directly, feel free to reach out to me as well. Thank you so much. You're welcome to stay on since you're already up. I don't know. It's up to you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it very much. So Nino, thank you. And we will contact you again. And a lot of guys, while you were gone, we're talking about maybe going on a trip to Georgia, actually.
All right, let's do it.
So let's go.
Let's do it. What's the best time of year to really check it out?
Oh, that's a
What's the
great
best season?
I like every season, and in New Year, Batumi is very beautiful.
What month? What month do you like? Is it a good spring? Is spring good? Is it fall? Is it summer? What is the most popular of the months?
Most popular is of course summer because it's a seaside, and the most popular is summer. But in New Year, in December and January, Batumi is decorated very well, and it's very beautiful.
There you go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What's next on the agenda?
All right. Nino,
Bye.
thank you again. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. So next up, we have another very, very cool, exciting guest. Lloyd. She comes to us thanks to Lloyd. So Lloyd, do you want to give us a little quick preview?
Quick preview. I've known Kaya for quite some
Not a
time.
really preview, but an introduction.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll introduce Kaya Stanley. I've known Kaya for quite some time. Her and her husband, actually, they're a hell of a couple. They're what I would consider a power couple. But Kaya in her own right is a serial entrepreneur, and one of her latest ventures is opportunity zones, and specifically I'm guessing she'll talk about opportunity zones in the Reno area. So Kaya Stanley, take it away.
There you go. All right. Oh.
Nope, can't do it again.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Thank you, Lloyd. Thanks for having me, everybody. Yes, I've been a commercial real estate attorney for 20 years. And when opportunity zone legislation was passed in 2017, I shifted most of my focus over to opportunity zones.
Explain what an opportunity zone is, please.
And opportunity zones are a tax incentive program that was passed in 2017. It was a bipartisan piece of legislation. Passed during this Congress is kind of remarkable. So you can imagine what it took to have bipartisan support. It's an incentive program that incentivizes private dollars to be invested into low income and rural communities. we can talk for hours about opportunity zones. So what Nathaniel and I talked about is that I'm going to talk really high level about what they are. And then to the extent anyone has specific questions, I can go into the weeds on this. Basically, opportunity zones are specific designated pieces of property around the country. There are 8,700 of them located around the country. They're designated by the governors of each state, and each of them had to qualify under census tract data as low income or rural. Once an investor has a capital gain, they can, I'm sure you guys are probably all very familiar with 1031 exchanges, right? Where you invest, you sell a property, you can invest it into another piece of property. Opportunity zones are an alternative to 1031 exchanges. When someone has a capital gain, let's say you bought Apple stock, and the difference between this and 1031s, it doesn't have to be real estate. It can be anything. You can sell a piece of art. And so if you had Apple stock that you had $1 million basis in and you sold it for 2 million, you have $1 million capital gain. If you invest that capital gain into an opportunity zone and hold it for 10 years, there is a 100% step up in basis, and there is zero tax owed when you sell of that property after 10 years. It's a massive, massive incentive. The analysis is that there's going to be over $6 trillion invested in opportunity zones in the next several years. Since it was passed, there's already been $75 billion invested in opportunity zones. I was on a panel earlier this morning with groups from every big city in the country talking about the different programs that are out there. Some of the interesting features of it are, like I said, the capital gain does not have to come from real estate. The capital gain can come from, like I said, selling a business, selling a piece of art, selling anything, just any kind of capital gain qualifies. The other thing that makes it really interesting is that it can be stacked with other incentive programs. So for those of you who are doing real estate investment, you can stack this with HUD grants. You can stack it with FDA grants. There's all kinds of different grants that can be used. But if you think about it in terms of, so real estate's the low-hanging fruit. That's one that it's very lockstep. When you invest in a real estate project, you know what your returns are going to be. There's not usually big swings. But if you think about if Google or Facebook had been started in an opportunity zone, after 10 years, you know, that went from what, like Nathaniel was talking about, his $1 property, if that was in an opportunity zone and he had bought it with a capital gain, that gain is tax-free. So the Google or the Tesla or whatever technology companies started an opportunity zone, when it gets a $200 billion valuation after 10 years, tax-free after 10 years. Now there has to be a disposition.
Make sure I understand. Are you saying the initial investment of let's use a Tesla, and let's just say you made $1 million, a net profit on the Tesla stock, you invest the full $1 million. And let's just say that $1 million grows to be $50 million. Are you saying the overall $50 million over a decade is completely capital gains tax-free?
Yes.
Wow.
You have to have a disposition event. So you have to sell it. You have to sell your stock. You have to sell your property. So that's a downfall. So someone was saying, what are the downfalls? Some people don't want to hold it for 10 years, or after 10 years, they don't want to have to sell it. There has to be a sale. But we're getting around that with some of the properties that we're doing here out in Reno. And like Lloyd said, most of the stuff I do is in Reno, some on the East Coast, but you can structure it as a C Corp and sell stock, and then just sell the stock after 10 years and still get the same treatment. But yes, it's remarkable, and it takes a long time for people to get their heads around it, because it's staggering, the incentive. Now I will tell you too, that there's kind of a curve, because at first you're in this place right now. If you're new to this, it's like, wow, this is crazy that this is such a huge incentive. Now, when you get to really getting into the weeds of it, there's a lot of rules and regulations. So when you invest in an opportunity zone, there's only certain properties that qualify. There's only certain investments that qualify. You have to improve the property in a certain amount of time. But even within those restrictions, this is still a massive, massive incentive. And even though don't let it scare you that I said that these zones are low income and rural. All of downtown Reno is an opportunity zone. The entire Tahoe Reno Industrial Center that is.
But it's an opportunity. Hey, real quick, Michael, you wanted to comment on this?
Yeah, Kay, aren't there other requirements like 90% or 80% of your employees have to be in that opportunity zone for the company to qualify for, say, an opportunity fund investing, or the property has to be improved, like from a $1 per square foot to like a $4 per square foot. So there's incremental investment. I love opportunity zones, but there are some more details.
There's a lot more details, but the ones that you just stated are not accurate. In the original opportunity zones as they were passed, everyone was saying what you're saying. The final regs that came out in December 2019 clarified all that and changed that. Now, if you put a business in an opportunity zone, there's a 3-part test. And it just has to be either you have your central office in an opportunity zone, you have most of your employees in an opportunity zone. It's not 90%, so it's not nearly as restrictive. And whatever your politics are, like I said, this is a bipartisan program, but the president put together a task force that really made the regs much more favorable. So Michael, you were talking about the substantial improvement test. So if you're buying a piece of property that has a building on it, you have to substantially improve the building. So for example, if the basis of the building is 500,000 and the land is $1 million, you have to double the basis in the building. So you have to buy something that you can invest another $500,000 in it. However, if it's first use, which means the building has not been occupied for over 3 years, or if it's a raw piece of land, there is no substantial improvement test. There's just a good faith effort. So what that means is you could buy a empty piece of land. They say that the good faith test is you can't just put a hot dog stand on it and qualify. You have to actually do something with it. But to your point, there are a ton of more regulations, and I can answer any questions that you guys have about it, but they're way, way more favorable and less restrictive than we originally feared that they were going to be.
And guys, just so you know, I know last week Tommy was on here talking about Augusta, and most of Augusta almost all of it is also an opportunity zone. So they're all over the country. It's not just in Reno. Opportunity zones are all over the country. Is that right, Kaya? There's
8,700 of them across the country. And I was on the phone with the guy under Ben Carson, the second guy in charge of this council today. And they were saying that they might even pass legislation to allow the governors to expand and change the opportunity zones. As of right now, they're not going to change. So I get calls all the time saying, well, can't I just petition and get this in there? And right now that's not an option. But yes, they're all over the country, and there's some really nice areas. Like I was started to say, the Tesla Gigafactory, where we're here in the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, Google Switch, blockchains, 130 corporate offices. That's all an opportunity zone because it qualified as rural.
But you have to be in there a minimum of 10 years, correct?
The hold is a minimum of 10 years, yes.
And is there any early exit on that or no?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. So one, you can early exit and just pay the tax. So you're allowed to do that. You just don't get the 10-year option. So it's not like you get in trouble. You just pay the tax and the penalty for not paying it.
It does defeat the purpose.
It defeats the purpose. The purpose is to encourage long-term hold. However, what I'm doing with every one of my clients is we're stacking it with another tax program that is, and I should have looked up the number. It's like, Nathaniel, I'll text it to you. It's like 1201 or something, but don't write that down because I don't remember exactly the number. Okay. But it's a second tier where if you're doing the investment through a C Corp, you can remove the money within 5 years and still get the benefit. So that's not part of opportunity zones. It's just part of what our group has been figuring out all these ways around to get out early.
Let me ask a very
You can move around.
let me just ask a very obscure question. Do you know if
Yep.
Puerto Rico has any
Yeah.
opportunity zones?
Yep.
Does.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some friends that are doing some deals in Puerto Rico right now.
Puerto Rico is.
Ben, your internet's not that good. You're not making Puerto Rico look good for bandwidth right now.
Look at the link. Down the link. You can see that. Just click on that. It's 98%.
Yeah, the whole
Puerto Rico and this
98% of
which one?
Wow, 98%. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think 98% of Puerto Rico and like all of downtown Augusta, and there it's a lot of places.
That's crazy.
The tax provision I was talking about is 1202.
It is 1202. Okay.
1202. Yep.
So that's how you could do it with a 5-year hold.
5-year hold, you still, and also the other thing I wanted to add is you can, if you have an opportunity zone project, whether real estate or business, you can sell one and move it as long as you stay within the time frame. You can move it into another opportunity zone deal and not lose your treatment. So that's good to know too, especially because sometimes, you know, these real estate deals, we decide to sell them before 10 years often. So you can still, you can move it around.
Ron, I think, did you have a question?
Yes, Kaya, you earlier mentioned something about art or any other tangible items besides real estate. How does that work tied to an opportunity zone?
As long as you have a capital gain. So if you buy a piece of art for $20,000 and sell it for $100, you have an $80,000 capital gain that you can put into an opportunity zone.
So it would be art you bought while standing in an opportunity zone, or that was
No.
created by an artist in an opportunity zone?
No, good question. No, the nature of the capital gains can come from anywhere, and it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to happen in an opportunity zone. So you get the capital gain anywhere, US sourced. I guess that there is that qualification. It has to be US sourced capital gain. Then wherever you sell it, then you invest it into an opportunity zone. So you buy real estate in an opportunity zone. Someone has a fund that's an opportunity zone fund and you invest it in that fund. You have a new business and you started in the opportunity zone. The way that it's a self-reporting law. So when you do your tax returns, your CPA or you, if you know what you're doing, you report that it's in an opportunity, that your investment is in an opportunity zone. And again, Michael, I think we were talking about earlier, there's a lot of weeds here. So when you do invest in an opportunity zone, when attorneys like me or many out there structure it for you, we create a fund for you. Fund is a piece of paper, or it can be an actual fund, just like we do, investment banking, just like we create funds. It can be a formal fund, or it can be, Ron, you've just sold your piece of art. You want to invest $80,000 and you put it into an opportunity zone fund. And I'm going to create a fund for you on one piece of paper. And when we file your taxes, it's going to say that this was an opportunity zone and you're golden.
I understand.
All
That was great.
self-reporting.
Yep. Yeah.
Shaheen, the man in the box. Do you have questions about this? I know you do a lot of investing in different areas. You there? Okay, maybe not. Maybe he doesn't know how to unmute.
And I can talk about this forever. So I can tell you about some of the examples of the different opportunity zone funds that I'm working with, or, interrupt for questions.
Well, you can
I do have a quick question.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, quick question. So if you have a fund and it's self-funded, then it's not an issue. But what happens if you have an LP? You've got a fund with a general partner, and then you've got a bunch of investors that are not, the investors themselves are not in the opportunity zone. So typically it's a pass-through anyway. How does that work?
So I don't know if I missed your question. So one of the funds that I'm in is exactly that structure that you just talked about. It's the individual investors don't have to be in the fund, just the fund has to be located in an opportunity zone. So we've got investors from all over the country, but the property that we invested in and the fund is located in Silver Springs, Nevada, so it qualifies. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. And I think to go any deeper, it'd probably be a longer in-depth conversation, which I look forward to having with you, by the way.
Okay, and I'm happy to go into more depth.
Ben, do you have better service? Can you try talking to us and mentioning what you put in the chat there, or should we just read it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if my bandwidth today is so good because the storm's coming in, but it's essentially last year there's a lot of investors conference about OZ fund and everybody was excited about that. I generally would like to really see the quality of the project, and very curious. The investors typically they have emotional ties in the background of that certain towns where they like to put the capital gains back into that town, or institutional investors that actually invest in the local areas where they live. To me, that sounds to be more reasonable offer of investors.
I'm seeing
I don't know if
both.
you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we heard you. I'm seeing both. So I'm general counsel for an investment banking firm down in San Diego, Access Capital Partners, and we've got several different projects that are opportunity zone funds, but we operate with those more like an institutional where someone sells, in fact, this just happened. Someone sold their medical practice and asked us to place $600,000 for them. And we placed it through one of our funds that funds self-storage. So that's an example. I also get calls probably twice a week of it's most of the time it's a developer from California trying to move to Nevada because we don't have any corporate or personal income tax. So they're all moving their stuff here. And so they're saying, I've got, a $4 million gain. I need to find a project here. I need you to find me something in the zone. So I work with them with local in businesses and developers here to find projects like that. So it's both. And then like I said, the stacking is really significant because we have a lot of people that will come in and they'll have a $4 million gain, but then they'll go get a loan and they'll get investors that are not opportunity zone, and they'll create a capital stack that is partly opportunity zone and partly other money and tax incentives and what have you.
This reminds me of EB5. So I used to work with Starwood Capital on the PE fund, mostly the acquisition side. And so the big projects in San Francisco, on the finance side, was using EB5 money, Chinese by Visa, basically. And, the problem with EB5 is the regional center has become so bogged down, the general paper becomes so slow to really process. And I'm curious because OC is starting to pop up, and we're looking to do something amazing in Puerto Rico as well. But I don't know if you guys go the regional centers route, is it too early now? The firms that you handle cases or pools of investors around the world, or what do you think the industry is going?
Yeah, so the group that I was on the panel with today, a lot of them came from the EB5 world, and my partner at Access Capital came from the EB5 world. And a lot of they are stacking that also. And a lot of the people are switching over and also taking EB5 money, combining with opportunity zone money. Did I answer your question? Because I can only hear some of the things you said.
I answer one part, and I like to give the floor, but I felt I would love to connect with you guys more about this. Yeah, I don't want to take the floor now.
Yeah, we'll put her info in there. Adam, did we lose you? Adam Burns? Oh, there we go.
I'm on.
Okay, great.
So, Biden's threatened to make major changes in capital gains tax, but also get rid of the 1031. Will this affect what is happening with opportunity zones, and can they retroactively go after and change an opportunity zone?
I saw that too. I've actually talked to Vice President Biden directly about this on opportunity zones, and we had a long talk. And I asked him if this was something that he was going to do away with. And at that time, it was kind of quick conversation. I hope that he doesn't do away with it. There's no such thing for any lawyers on the call, there's no such thing constitutionally as an ex post facto law, so they can't go retroactively take it away. but they can drastically change it going forward. That's always a risk. But the reason that I stressed at the beginning that it's a bipartisan bill, it has wide bipartisan support. It's shocking for any program in this day and age. The fact that Trump now has taken credit for it, and he's doing these press releases. Now you're hearing some of the negative press from the other side. I'm hoping that that doesn't continue depending on which way the election goes. So Adam, to answer your question, they can't take it away completely. They can drastically change it, and that's an unknown that is yet to be seen. 1031s in there, I still deal with both of those. And for some people, 1031s is still the way to go. The thing about 1031s is, most of you probably know, that kicks the can down the road. Eventually you're going to have a tax event when you do sell it, if you don't keep moving it into a 1031. The beauty of the opportunity zone is it takes it out of kicking it down the road. You get 10 years into an opportunity zone and you're tax free. But we hope that the 1031 exchange program sticks around. It's a very important program.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
That was a very good question, Adam. I was wondering the same thing, and I think many of us were actually. So, great. Can you tell us quickly in like 2 minutes, kind of another way it's being used in Reno?
Yeah, so, well, one of the things that I'm working on up here with the Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada and UNR, so remember I mentioned that if Google were in an opportunity zone, it would have been massive. So we're doing tech incubators where we invest in the real estate, but then we also invest in each business that goes in. And so it kind of gives us a double whammy if we do well. So the real estate is a lockstep great investment because we're getting a paying tenant in. But then by investing in each of the businesses, if one of those takes off, and we've got a couple different models of incubators. One of them, we only take businesses in that have a minimum of $10 million of revenue. The other one, we're doing startups. So we're really hedging our bets with those. And there's a lot of, as you guys all know, with what's going on with COVID, there's a lot of opportunity here because there's a whole lot of problems to be solved. In Reno in particular, we have a huge housing shortage because everyone from California is moving out here. And so housing here is a massive opportunity. Technology, people coming up with different solutions to deal with COVID, from UV lighting to vaccines to treatments. We're looking at funding all of those different kinds of projects.
That is awesome. Oh, Lloyd, you no longer have a question. Okay, she answered your question because she's that good. Got it.
Yeah, it was about funding opportunities for tech, because she and I had this conversation maybe 2 years ago about what opportunities are there for people who create these funds and want to invest in technologies. And so she answered the question. But
do we see
it's a massive opportunity, the technology piece, and any solutions that solve all the problems that we're going to be facing in the next couple of years?
Do we see opportunity zones get rezoned often? Like, for example, if we see a natural disaster affect a certain area, does it get rezoned because of the natural disaster?
So this is a new situation because it just passed in 2017. So nothing's been rezoned yet. And there's nothing on the horizon to be rezoned. However, I was with that White House council today, and they said that they're looking at that possibly in the future to allow governors to be able to change or add to the opportunity zones, but it's not a real thing yet.
Okay, perfect. Well, Kaya, thank you for spending time with us. You, just as Athena and Jennifer, are always welcome back, being past guests. And I think that's it. I think that's another first mover.
Is episode 12 and it rocked. That's what happened. Everyone, thanks a lot for hanging out. And Nathaniel, you're doing a great job. Everyone unmute yourself. Thank everybody that's been on this call. And
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All next
Thank you.
week.
That was awesome. Much. Have a great day, ladies.
Thanks, everybody.